live, preparing to live stream to YouTube, and we should be there now. Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Let me look on my phone to make sure that we are there. Yep, there we go. Preparing to live stream.
Yeah, we're there.
We're there. Hi, everybody. Welcome into Energy Upgrade. I'm Lisa Albin. I am a Feng Shui master and quantum energy alignment practitioner. And you're about to receive an energy upgrade with me and my dear friend, Sabine Priestley. Welcome, Sabine, to the channel. This is a really fun and friendly environment filled with high vibe energy. If you're new to my channel, welcome in. I invite you to please take a seat, get acquainted. You can also get yourself a pen and a piece of paper to write down your goals and your intentions that you hold right now. And we are going to have those in our mind's eye as we go throughout this session. If you've stumbled upon me by accident, it's no accident that you're here. We are going to be exchanging energy through these virtual means. If you're catching me on the recording, this is the perfect time for you to receive this as well. So it doesn't matter whether you're with us live or on the recording. I encourage you also to go ahead and drop us comments. Let us know that you're here. If you hear something that resonates with you, if you want to know more from us, we would love to hear from you and really show up for you in the way that you need right now. We are going to be divining of the ancient I Ching, which is at the foundation of Feng Shui, and asking what we can do in the coming weeks to, what do we need to know right now so we can show up for our greatest and highest good as we're moving forward towards our goals. And so that's why it's so important that you really clarify what you were looking for as you're moving towards your goal and write it down on your piece of paper and really make that commitment. We're going to be divining of the ancient I Ching, and then we're going to be using some modern systems to recalibrate our aura field, our emotional aura field, and install some frequencies that are going to carry us through into the next week. Okay, so thank you. I'll let you guys take a time to get situated here while we hear from Miss Sabine, who I've actually just been chatting with on a call prior to this. So Sabine, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, hi, I'm Sabine Priestley. I'm an electrical engineer by training and also a steamy science fiction romance author by passion. And now I am a conscious quantum living coach and facilitator. This came about because of my own dark night of the soul in 2016, which is not uncommon. Anybody going through a transition, or an impact like death or a divorce, or if you have all of those going on at once, it's pretty common. And I'm on a mission now to help people that are going through this transition, because I think the state the world is in right now is so much due to the energies, to the way that we have evolved, to the masculine dominance. And just to be clear, briefly, it's not masculine as men. Yes, they're tied together, but we all have masculine and feminine energies. And so I resonate with Lisa so much, is because we both really want to just try and help the world in any way that we can, as best as we can.
Yeah, I could spend all day with you, Sabine. I think sometimes we do spend the whole day together. And I think what I love the most about what you do is you're really great at helping people to get in alignment with their selves and their awakening, that there is more to life than what they're just seeing in front of them every day. And what has been your experience in that? And I know it takes a lot of courage for you, because you're stepping forward and sharing how you came upon your path through, like you said, your dark night of the soul. But what does that mean for you, and what has been your experiencing in helping people get to that journey?
Oh, it's a difference between night and day. When I look at myself now versus 2016, I'm literally a different person, and I experience this life completely differently. And what that taught me is that we go through life very conditioned, and especially as a female engineer, I was very analytical, and I was very much in the 3D world, and this is what it is, and it's exactly what we're told it is, and that's all there is. But when my life shattered It was a divorce and two deaths. My father-in-law died, my mom died, and my 18-year marriage at that point got a death blow within 1 month. Everything went sideways, and it was such a beautiful thing. Now, in hindsight, I'm really glad it happened. So when I'm working with people, I take them on that journey, which is not a journey to who I think you are or who I am. It's a journey within, right? We all have this underlying truth, but we have to get underneath the disempowering beliefs. We have to get beyond the stories that we have been told and that we inherited. And unless you really go deep within, you just take that as fact because that's the way everybody says it is. And when you really get into in touch with yourself and really get in touch with your higher self, your intuition and your gifts, we all have these gifts, then this world becomes a very magical place. It's truly like when I first started evolving into this, I felt like Harry Potter at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, magic is real.
Yes, exactly. It does, and I love that that recognition and being able to see not mirroring your experience and others, but being able to recognize where they are in their own life and being able to help lead them to you're no magician. You don't hold any power, and
Right.
neither do I, but rather we're facilitators of people on their journeys by being rather vulnerable in our own
Yeah.
power into where we are. And so the world needs more of you.
And
Really.
you, and you. And and it's interesting too, the vulnerability question, because when you really do connect with yourself and your higher source, and I call it source, it's cosmic consciousness, it's divine, it's God, it's Bob, I don't care what you call it, it's that which created all. The vulnerability kind of goes away, actually does go away, because as Vishen and Mind Valley would put it, you become unfuckable with.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you have such a core foundation that even if the fluff on the outside is going sideways and wobbling, you're solid.
Yes.
You're solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Let's get jumped into, and I know you do a lot of energy upgrades with me on a regular basis, and I'd like to open this up to you. You have a really strong intuition as well. We're going to divine the I Ching and tap into the energy of the collective. Anyone who's watching right now, let us know when something resonates. If you have any questions, certainly. Light a candle if you desire, an incense, ring a bell, even clap your hands to really tap in with intention. We are exchanging energy through this very virtual means, and it doesn't empower any less. And in fact, I believe there are these positive channels through these virtual means that are overlooked. Because all we hear about are the negatives. All we hear about are the headaches and the depression and the cancer and so on, exchanged through the negative channels of EMF, electromagnetic fields. But if there's a bad, there's a good, right?
Always.
If there's a yin, there's a yang. So we are, through the quantum entanglement theory, exchanging energy right now. So Sabine and I do this on a regular basis for our collective and are very honored to be able to exchange this with you right now. So I am asking of the ancient I Ching to please show us what are our best steps to make as we move forward towards our goals with clarity and ease and focus. Thank you. The first energy is the energy of hexagram 35, which is easy progress, really beautiful energy. This is the energy of fire above and earth below. So it's harmonious, fire and earth. Fire creates earth, in fact. Think about a volcano and the fire and the molten lava creating more and more earth and mountains. It's a very creative energy to be in. Woo. Okay.
I'm copying our link to let somebody in, just so you know.
Ooh, yes, thank you. Are we letting people into the Zoom room?
Not to the Zoom room. He's trying to get to the YouTube channel.
Oh, the
He
YouTube
can't.
channel. Okay.
So I'm going to paste it for him.
Perfect. Thank you. So we are shifting into an energy of difficulty at the beginning, which is hexagram number 3, water above and thunder below. Okay, there we go.
Lisa, that link is telling me the video has been removed by the uploader.
Oh yeah, it's the notification link.
Oh, so he just goes to the channel?
Yes. So we are hexagram 35, the current energy, easy progress, shifting into difficulty at the beginning. There's a lot going on in the divine, flowing down towards the earth and the human realm. The energy of easy progress, fire above, earth below, is the situation is one of easy, natural progress. What has been weak is ascending, and by gaining a prominent position, will become more powerful. One image here is the light of the rising sun, which first appears dimly through the mist, but this same light will radiate with powerful clarity once the sun has reached its highest position in the sky. Progress is made when those in supporting positions make peace with those in leadership, and in doing so, create a natural means for their talents and abilities to become more visible. So the idea of that sun, and I like to talk a lot about in Feng Shui, that fire energy. Fire energy in Feng Shui is aligned with fame and reputation, but I like to think of that as your inner flame, your authenticity. What lights you up from the inside out? So those goals that you wrote down on your paper, those intentions that you have right now, think about what is it that moves you towards this goal that you desire? What is lighting you up from inside with authenticity? It's by recognizing and riding with the natural course of events, by hitching your wagon to the natural course of events. So I think immediately whenever I see this hexagram and dive into it is thinking about the law of attraction. What is it? Esther Hicks talks about this a lot too. Hitch your wagon to what's easy and someone already headed right in that direction. Again, getting into that, when you know your authentic self, then you are better able to, and it's easier for you to attract others that are like-minded, and it's easier for you to hitch your wagon to something that's going to take you towards your goals with more clarity, ease, and dare I say joy. It's easy and it's fun, and it's goodness in human nature is like it's dim and beautiful. And in this hexagram, the I Ching talks about the early morning light. It's beautiful, and it's dim in its beauty in the early morning light. And however, just as the morning light can be swallowed by the fog, greed, hatred, and other forms of self-absorption can obscure this goodness. So this is interesting. In our smaller collective reading earlier today, Sabine and I were learning about the energy that came up in our emotional aura is being affected by a shallowness. So being able to discern when someone else is in their authenticity and their trueness, and that is an energy you can trust. But we are better able to, when we are in our own alignment and power, to be able to recognize when there is those red flags. So those are not our easy, those aren't our easy wagon to hitch a ride onto. So taking action without concern for immediate reward. Yes. So it's even recognizing that you might not be the strongest energy to know what to do in this instance towards your goal, and to look for perhaps someone who's already walked that path. Look for your mentor, look for someone that can show you the way. Again, taking away a lot of that struggle. So when we're talking about from the divine, when strong energetic action is required to achieve success, make certain that your ducks are in a row before you start. Are your foundations lined up? Do you have all of that nitty-gritty work done? But be particularly careful to avoid the overly energetic initiatives of people with whom you don't have a close relationship. If a bridge can't handle the weight, don't use it. So when you are looking for these mentors, when you are looking for your guide, when you're looking for your wagon to hitch a ride to, it should be someone that you trust. It should be someone you've already exchanged a lot of energy with, that really knows you for who you are, so that that bridge can carry the weight of the immensity of your goal. This can be a job-related goal. It can be a relationship-related goal. It can be a life relationship goal. But it doesn't matter. It is of utmost importance to you, and those who you bring into and collaborate with, ask for guidance from, should also hold your goal in high regard. When you're in a position of service to others who wield more power, a gentle and benevolent attitude will further your interests of the whole. Right? I mean, this exactly came up with us on a smaller scale earlier today. So when you can get into this, and I know you started, Sabine, talking about the energy of the yin and yang. How many times do you out there, and even Sabine, I know I can do this for myself, but how much do you perhaps get caught up into the rat race and thinking, well, I'm not in the grind. I'm not being very aggressive here. So therefore, I must not be doing things correctly. It's easy to slip back into those pre-programmed patterns of, this is too easy, so I must be doing it wrong. So remember, this is going to be an easy ride. It's going to be coming from a place of joy. You don't always need to put your nose to the grindstone, or however that saying goes. So as we get a little bit deeper into this, it talks about, in times of great progress, it's easy for influential people to accumulate wealth. When assets are required by devious means, however, sooner or later, the facts will come to light. And be careful. Proceeding with questionable behavior will certainly lead to misfortune. So whatever your goal is, if it is wealth related, wealth can mean something in terms of relationships too. When you're doing it from a correct place that's aligned with your foundations that put in place, you're not looking for a fast reward. You're looking for a sticky reward. You're looking for sustainability in this. And the more that you can avoid devious means, the more that you can avoid allowing those red flag entities into your sphere and moving towards these goals, the more sustainable the longevity of your attainment of this goal will be, that wealth. Getting down into the human realm, you might have a lack of confidence right now, but remain calm and accept that your influence may not be strong enough just yet to have that great progress. Your advancement may be desired so strongly that you are foregoing all the happiness and the nourishment in your life. And so this is a big reminder for you to remain calm and remain dedicated, but don't deplete yourself in this energy. Avoid serious mistakes that could halt your progress altogether. So if you are seeing stress in your own life, if you are feeling that you're operating from a place of lack, this is your reminder that this journey should be fun. You should be feeling nourished. You need to be at your 100% best energetic level so that you can move forward with this clarity and ease. Did anything
and
come
fun is key.
Yeah, the fun
is key. All right, it's supposed to be fun. Yeah, there's a couple of things I jotted down. I'd be curious to know from people who see this, whether now or later. Shallow. I want to know how many people that resonates with, because I wrote down a couple of things that this is like the third time now. When things come to me in threes, I'm always paying attention. Yeah. So shallow is one of them. The other one is teams or collaboration. I think that it's getting really, really important for us to be working together more and more right now, because there's so many loners out there. And I'm segueing, but when you're first starting on this spiritual journey, it can be really lonely. It can be really, really lonely, because there's a good chance that the people that you've loved and your family and you've been hanging out with aren't fitting anymore. They're talking about things that don't interest you anymore. And this goes back to shallow, I suppose. And you find yourself feeling like a square peg in a round hole, and it just doesn't fit. And so it's really not uncommon to shed friendships, you know, and in different ways. It can be a nice way and just, but you literally, and this ties into the energy, you aren't nourished by hanging out with them anymore. And so it doesn't serve you to hang out with them
Yeah, so it's
anymore.
that clinging to what's no
Yeah.
longer resonant with who you are.
And that's part of the change. And this is what I help people get through is becoming somebody else is intensely uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's really hard to step into being somebody else, especially when you don't know who that is.
Yes. Sabine, I'm just sharing. I'm going to start doing
Yeah.
aura while we're getting into the next energy. I'll let you continue talking though.
Okay. Yeah. What else did I write down? Oh, you mentioned that don't muddy the energy when you're trying to accomplish something. And that's absolutely true. The energy is it. I mean, everything I do is energy based. It's all quantum physics and how this works between us and our thoughts and our emotions and everything. But yeah, so keeping an eye on the energy. But the other thing I wanted to touch on that you were talking about, which is just like this, it's an epidemic now. This, if I'm not doing, if I'm not efforting, if it's not hard, then I'm not doing enough. I'm not. I've worked with so many clients that it's like they can't sit still. They don't,
They berate themselves for
yes,
not showing
oh,
up like their neighbors or the other people
yeah,
around them who are like, oh, I got so much done on my list today, and they're like, what I should
right,
do more.
yeah, and they can't relax, just hang out and do nothing and meditate. It's a number of them. It's such a struggle because they feel like they should be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a hard one for me, especially in business. And I guess relationship wise too, I have a tendency to slip back into that yang energy and to have a desire or like an clinging to I need to be doing more. I need to like everybody else is doing. What am I
yeah,
not doing? So it's a
right,
constant reminder and maintenance for myself to shift back into that receiving, to allow the answers to come to me from a better place.
yeah.
And you and I, Sabine, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing this, but we met in a
Yeah.
meditation.
Oh yeah, yeah. Odie retreat.
Yeah, so we met
Yeah,
sitting in meditation together, and that practice in itself is a must-have in quiet. I mean that is coming from a place of power and listening to your inner knowing and self. And I think that's one unmistakable sign that for me to know you in that moment of
yeah.
meditation was like mind blowing. So it's interesting to be sitting with you here today, like a year and a half later.
A year and a half later, yeah. But that's the way it works, isn't it? When we're
Mhm.
on the right path, the universe brings us to the people that we resonate with.
So people aren't
And
alone, and they can find like-minded people in circles that resonate, and certainly with and now you have your community too, right?
yeah, I'm building a community off of Facebook and Mighty Networks. And yeah, I didn't close the loop on that. It can be really, really lonely at times. And for a lot of people, it is that they go through this loneliness. And if you're there now, just remember to take that opportunity to really keep going within. But you will find your tribe. You will find the people. Lisa and I think Lisa, you were probably the first one that I really resonated and connected with here in St. Pete. I've got a number of people that I know that they're around. They're all over in the U.S. and South Africa and in Europe and other places. But having somebody local was really, really nice. And now that the spiritual community is growing, I'm getting connected with a lot of people. So if you're in that place because you're just starting this journey, you don't worry about it. You will find your people. They will find you.
Yeah, it's unmistakable. And so it's really doing work like this where you can, through fun and easy and educational ways, really hone in on your knowledge and power and your life path journey, and allowing that to, we've been using the word a lot, expression, and radiate yourself in a way that your people won't be able to mistake. Like, that's my
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful. I love what we see here. So what we're seeing on the screen now is what we were picking up in our collective emotional aura field. And the issue is telling the world how smart we are. That's the whole umbrella issue. It's at a rating of 4, so from 0 to 10. It is, so 10 being like a real heaviness. But this is a lingering issue that's in our emotional aura collective. Now, this could be something that you said or that someone has said around you. You heard another person say, or on the TV or in a song. But this energy is sticky, and underlying that is a need to access, purge the anger and frustration without physically damaging the abuser. Feels like I don't do enough. We were just talking about that. So that's a negative. It feels like I don't do enough. And then probably berating yourself for that. So we're going to be resolving these, accessing what we need, including realization of my inner divinity, courage.
Yay.
Yeah, everything that we're talking about. So Sabine and I didn't pre-program this. This is something that is being received through intuitive discernment of the SRC for You software. And Sabine's very familiar with this. We do this practice alignment quite often. And so there's a negativity of overbearing need to be heard, hard-hearted. Ooh, a lot of these I feel like I've heard in a lot of upgrade sessions lately. Accessing, create your own happily ever after storybook life by your own efforts. So that's at a 5. And slinking away, shame-based, which is high at a 9. All of these underlying causes supporting to that, telling the world how smart we are. So we're going to let this resolve in the background and come back to it when we hear the tone, and talk a little bit more, Sabine, about, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second. I'll bring it back up. We're going to talk a little bit more about the energy of difficulty at the beginning. So this may be a new intention for you towards a long-time goal, or it may be a new goal that you've formed and that you are looking to put your efforts towards right now. So shifting into difficulty at the beginning, which is the energy of water above and thunder below, which is interesting because we were just talking about easy progress and wanting to hitch our wagon to the joy and someone who's already, follow the guidance of someone who's already walked that path. But difficulty at the beginning talks about the birth of a new venture or relationship. And it's this entry into the unknown. So that feeling that everything around you is new. Nothing is recognizable, and confusion and chaos. And it's not potentially threatening, it's just new. And I think that goes back to that primal instinct, that fight or flight. When things are new, it can be scary or anxious, but on the other side, it could be excitement. And so at this time, ask for guidance and support. So these challenges aren't challenges that you can't handle, it's just new. So it's going to require you to gain your strength and find your courage, and you will get your footing. The I Ching talks about the energy of a newborn fawn. Obviously, that newborn fawn isn't always going to be tripping over itself all the time. It's going to take off running quite quickly. But find that stability and really get grounded. You don't want to take any careless steps, so no big leaps at this time. Just because you're still finding your footing, it doesn't mean that you can't have that forward momentum. Just be aware that this is a newness that you are taking on. And be sure, once again, to enlist the advice of experienced people and wise supporters. So look for those red flags, and as Sabine was talking about, look for your people, identify your tribe. It's what kind of things come to mind, Sabine? How does one find their soul tribe, their family, their supporters that they can trust to help them move towards this important goal?
I think this is sort of a two-part answer, because finding tribe in this day and age, you can frequently find people that you're resonating with online. All right. And that's important. When I first started out my journey, I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody in my real life, IRL, as I call it. But I found Bruce Lipton. Yeah. Bruce Lipton is a cellular biologist. And as an electrical engineer, I seriously resonated with the science, because at that point in my journey, I was still married. I didn't trust what was happening. I didn't really fully trust myself. The people around me, this was woo-woo and it was crazy. And I literally in the beginning thought, am I just losing my mind? Am I just going crazy? But I found Bruce Lipton. And he was going to be in Taos, New Mexico, right before I was going to Europe for 3 months. I went nomad for 7 months and just traveled, and part was in Europe. And so I didn't even know. I just jumped on a plane and went to Taos, New Mexico 2 weeks before I left, and ended up getting certified as a Psych K facilitator. So this was the beginning of my finding real life people. And I think the way that you find your tribe is to do that. You follow, you start to follow your instinct and your intuition. And there's going to be this level of yes, 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 or yeah, maybe, or kind of yes or no, and the more you do it, the more you get better at it. And that was an eye opener. And I'm still friends with people that I met at that event to this day. And if you're local, it can be as simple as, for some reason, you really kind of want to go to a cafe, get a coffee and work, right? You never know who you're going to meet in a cafe. So do that. Start paying attention to it. Find local events.
How do introverts find their people?
I think you do it the same way. I mean, I would say, you never know now looking at me, but I was very introverted in the beginning. And that was largely because I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who I was becoming. And we talked about, you mentioned that, the unknown zone. And here's the thing. When we get out of our comfort zone, that's when we grow.
Right.
So, I teach my people, get out of your comfort zone on a regular basis. So if you're an introvert, get your butt to a cafe and make a goal. All right. It can be as simple as, I will speak to one person today. I will say hello to somebody today, in a way that'll maybe make them smile. Maybe I'll compliment their dress or their shoes or their hair, but I will do one thing, because the more you do it, the easier it gets. And there is no more important reason than to find your true self. All right. Don't sell yourself short.
I love that so much. I love that you're talking about, the small steps add up. The I Ching and the advisement of, okay, yeah, it may be difficulty and unknown at the beginning a little bit. But even the baby fawn eventually takes off running quite strong, and taking those careful small steps, like you're saying, like going to the cafe. Maybe you don't talk the first time, but you listen to the people around. What do they need? What are they struggling with? What are they working on? And then maybe the next time you feel comfortable in talking to someone that's resonating with you. But that awareness that you're so great, Sabine, in leading people towards in a very natural, organic way is really beautiful. And I think empowering. It's for you to be able to be a guide for people that are feeling lost in all of this chaos and unseen and unheard and maybe a little crazy to be able to see someone like yourself, a very highly educated, well-read, engineer background, be able to substantiate with data and facts, things that are woo, perceived as woo. It's fun. First of all, like
it's fun.
The energy of Hogwarts, like there's more out there.
There's so much more out there.
So much more.
Yeah. And look at this. I am teachable.
Yes, I love this. Is perfect.
Perfect.
I am teachable. So, and Sabine knows this. Those of you who watch regularly, we like to take your pen, write I am teachable. It's recommended 3 times here, and Sabine knows this too, in the abundance codes, 369, right? My master in Feng Shui, Professor Lin Yun, Grandmaster Professor, has taught me about the power of 9. Everything adds back to 9. And 9 symbolizes supreme completion. So completion to your goal, completion to your cycles, your life cycles. Really, not just moving forward to with great momentum, but just an auspicious completion, and it's very heavenly. And if you can write I am teachable down 9 times, preferably in cursive, as one of my mentors taught me, that's further integrating the energy of I am teachable into all the levels of your consciousness and awareness. And getting into those areas that might not otherwise be lit up. So if you don't know how to write cursive, do in your most beautiful script, as artfully as you can, to really integrate those areas of your brain that we might not be using in today's modern world. And writing it in 9 times as your mantra for today, I am teachable, which is perfect and resonant with the message from the I Ching. You're instilling the energy of these words, right, Sabine? As we talk about the energy and everything.
It's certainly, and it's important to write it. And we're so used to typing and or pecking on our phones. It's something about putting it and making it material on paper has power.
Yes, the energy and the movement, and it really just deeply programs in a way. And I know, Sabine, you have a lot of good recommendations in terms of mantras and integrating them, but it's really helpful. You can even just write this down on a Post-it note. I am teachable in this current energy that we're experiencing together as a collective. Take a Post-it note, write this down, stick it on a door that you walk by frequently, on your laptop or desktop if you're working for the rest of the day, on a mirror. But what are some other ways that you integrate mantras into your daily habit, Sabine?
It has to do with words. So to sort of recap a little bit, what brought me back to spirituality is science. I'm a geek. This is the Bruce Lipton thing. So when I was in Europe, it's like a self-directed master's program. I was devouring Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Lynn McTaggart, Nassim Harriman, and Joe Dispenza. I was doing hours and hours of meditation, and I was just obsessed. I was just crazy. So I was meditating. My Eat, Pray, Love is more like, it was travel, eat, meditate.
Ooh, yeah. I like that game.
It was fun. It was fun and serious breakthroughs and serious, oh my God, aha moments. And this is another reason why I did what I did with this, my 8-week program, is because you don't have to do it alone. I did alone, and I wish I had somebody to hold my hand then. But so science and spirituality and quantum physics. And when we're talking about, 3, 6, 9, and 9, it's numbers, it's geometry, it's shapes, and it's form, and ultimately it's frequency, because words, sounds, shapes, form can all be, it's mathematics and it's energy. It all comes back to energy. So when you're dealing with mantras of any kind, where, even if you're just doing affirmations of some kind, be incredibly mindful of the words.
Yes.
And as you get more and more in tune with yourself, and this is the advanced stuff that I'm working on, but when you get more in tune with yourself, you can look at a word and feel its energy.
Yes.
And some words, some number combinations have very different resonance to them. And it's not a good or bad thing. Some days we need this and some days we need that. It's very much being attuned to what's needed within our own energy sphere and whatnot. So mantras, experiment with them. Google it if you're interested in Native Americans or Hinduism or Buddhism or anything. Go do some research. And this is part of the fun. This is part of the really great fun, guys, because when you really are getting tapped into this and getting connected to your higher self, it gets to be fun, and you're just following the breadcrumbs, because the universe will just bring you breadcrumbs and little hints and go here, go do that, go do that. And
I love that expression, like follow the breadcrumbs, like having that awareness to look for those patterns, those mathematical patterns in nature. We talk a lot about
repeating numbers.
Yes.
Right? We talk about this a lot. If you're seeing the same number combinations over and over and over again, it means something.
Yeah. Sabine, I'm going to go ahead and since we did this alignment work in our mastermind group, I'm going to do this for the collective right now. But really, really strong, as we're talking about everything containing an energy, and that is energy that we carry through all of the channels of ourselves. And this is something that I just started integrated into this channel because I think we need it at this time. We're getting out of that very watery Cancer, highly emotional, maybe feeling very like, water in its good sense is meandering and well controlled, and water in its bad sense, and as we look at it as Feng Shui professionals, is rushing or stagnant. And so I'm
Right.
really looking forward to shifting into this fire energy that's coming up a lot in today's reading, the fire energy, that inner light that radiate, that emission of who we are, and being able to recognize those lighthouses, our communities like yours, Sabine. Those lighthouses that you're like, that's my people, that's my tribe. um,
Yeah.
and when you know yourself, the better you know yourself, the clearer everyone else is around you.
Oh, and it's so, I mean, and how fun is that when you get to know yourself so much, you're shining your light. You are shining that light. And then it just starts being self-perpetuating because you just meet these people and yeah,
And it's Hogwarts.
it is Hogwarts. It absolutely is Hogwarts. And yes, the staircases change. So you have to be able to, you want to be bendy, you want to be flexible, you want to be able to go with the flow.
I think this is important too, as we're talking about shifting from a very young period in history where everything was about industry. Okay, industry is important in all the senses of the word, very powerful, but it's a very young energy. It was machinery and industry and corporations and strength in terms of a very, and you're right, I'm not excluding any men out there who are with us today. We all have the male energy, the yang energy, but we're seeing a shift now more into this receptive yin energy in everyone, and which is really exciting. So it's important to do this energetic work so we can allow our expression of ourselves to flow through us. So from who we are to what we do, to come from a place of inner knowingness.
Mm-hmm. Inner knowingness and flow. It's because it's a shift. It's a shift in energy, and it's really huge. I just, before this, I was on, and before that with Lisa, I was on a Zoom with coaching calls. So I'm doing a business coaching program, and it ties back to industry. And a lot of what we did, so much of the corporate culture is infused with this masculine energy. And so many of the women, and I was there as a female engineer that, I moved into management. And, I think a lot of women just take on the masculine persona to fit in because that's the way it works. And I was always able to straddle that, but I wasn't aware of it at the time. It was totally, totally unconscious. But allowing for the feminine to really step in. And then if you're looking at the higher level in terms of industry, the way that it evolved to just treat people like tools and resources with no regard to lifestyle and fulfillment, self-fulfillment. This is what really got lost. And this is why people, we got people working, 3 jobs just to stay alive. And that is so whack and so not necessary at this point in time. So there's some big shifts that are happening that people are working on, and it's changing the whole energy of Gaia. So we talk about this a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting to see that that return to nature, the regard for nature. We see it on our Instagram feeds all day, the inclusion of the outdoors in, bringing the outdoors in, really finding that is a nourishing energy for us, and shifting away from all the stark concrete and, more is better type of industry. It's not now we're shifting more into the artistry, the appreciation for the details, and the love for the environments in which we are in is really and how the environments and communities that we place ourselves in. I love that you were a nomad for quite a while in that wanderer energy on your journey. That's very symbolic too, but allowing the communities and the experiences, the newness, like we're talking about today, to help shape the outcome. It's your eat, pray, love. I love that. That's a fun, it's a fun warm up, for a Zoom meeting or something. Like, let's go around and
Yeah.
talk about what's your eat, pray, love expression in your journey. That's really cool. I love that so much. So what we just strengthened right here is our through the collective, the intuitive discernment, and the quantum entanglement theory, our auras have been strengthened. It's going to take a while for this to be fully set in, stay fully hydrated. And Sabine, you talk about this all the time, the importance of being fully hydrated. Water is important in many levels. What are your best hydration tips for everybody?
Obviously just drink, but pay attention to the source of the water. You do want to have clean water, and water is amazing. Water is incredible because, as Emoto has pointed out, it has the ability to absorb intentions. So this is a geek. All right, I am a geek. This is an art crystal. It's an Nassim Haramehn's Resonance Foundation that has the ability to charge water and bring the water into resonance. But this is the crystal itself.
Oh, let me
And
see.
yeah, this is me getting my geek on. So it's in a harness because obviously it's a crystal, it'll break. And it's got a magnetic base in it. And I have a necklace holster for it. So this goes on the base and then goes in the water. The water is really important. And when you set an intention for your water, love or health or clarity or whatever is going on, give a few minutes and really put an intention into that. And you can do an entire pitcher, you don't have to do a small glass, but it's huge. And the same goes with food. When you're eating food, try and be mindful. And I'll tell you, I'm guilty with this. If I'm busy, I'm eating and I'm working and I'm, trying to get stuff done. And I always kick myself afterwards, but take a moment and say thank you for the food. Be grateful that you have this food and let it nourish your body. It's a mindful way of living, right?
It's
being more aware.
way of living. Yeah, I really like a lot of things that you said, and thank you for sharing that about your water too. I certainly geek out on it. And for those of you who aren't aware of the scientists that we're referring to, Dr. Masaru Emoto did a lot of studies on the formation of water crystals and how, and to be able to give us some data and experimentation to show us the impact of words, the impact of music. So we want to be really careful about, therefore, our environment, and also what we put inside of our bodies and how we treat ourselves, the words we say to ourselves, because it programs us in a way, and it programs those around us. You've seen the plant, the science projects in school where you have the plants, and it shows up in so many different ways, but we should be saying these loving words to ourselves and to those around us, and arguably more importantly to ourselves, so that we're showing up for those we care about in our best way. And also the water, speaking your intentions into water, and food in itself too. Sabine, you were talking about, that's been a big a new area of interest for me too, the mindful eating. And especially when we were all locked inside, it's when some of the doors opened back up and we could get out into restaurants and so on and so forth, it became the return of organizing our days around food. And away from like, hey, I need to eat because I'm hungry, or I need to stay healthy or nourished. It was more like, how I'm eating now, and like, where am I going to go eat again next? And so really being mindful about the choices of what we put into our bodies. I think I'm glad that you mentioned that today, because that's been interesting to me. And there's a reason, like you said, for repetitions. So, wow.
Can we just take a brief moment and go deeper just quickly on what you said with the thoughts? This is so huge. I teach this all the time. And it's, so each of us is, literally, we are literally 99.9999% energy. There's so little actual matter in us. And as that, we're moving and we're vibrating. And so everything that we do, like Lisa said, our thoughts are energy. Thoughts are energy. Here's a weird one for you. You haven't thought about this before. When you have a thought, you literally just created a energy, a piece of energy, and that thought goes out there. And the thought, it can't be destroyed. It's energy. So our thoughts literally exist. This is where the Akashic records come from, because everything that ever happened and was ever thought is still in existence today. And those people that can tap into the Akashic, this is what they're doing. They're simply being able to tap into that which exists. But from a personal level, we really had to take it seriously in that our thoughts and our emotions literally create our energy. And you can call that aura, it's very much affects our aura, the energy that surrounds us. I'm a biofield researcher as well. And our thoughts and our emotions project around us. This is, when you come across people, when you get more sensitive, and you will, as you keep doing this work, you can tell where somebody's at. They're off or they're on.
Yeah.
And it's all about our thoughts. And it's really, really hard to reprogram your thoughts. I take people through this in the very first week of my program is how to get this monkey mind working for us instead of against us. Because wouldn't it be great if we had our best friend, our biggest cheerleader working for us 24/7, instead of that inner critic that's always telling us, oh, you're not good enough, you can't do it, who do you think you are, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So yeah, pay attention to what you're saying and what you're thinking and how you're feeling.
Yes, I love that so much. I feel like a lot of that is really resonant with what we're talking about. So in theory, I think, it sounds bad, the energy of difficulty at the beginning, but what Sabine was talking about earlier, everybody, is if you're not doing something that's a little bit uncomfortable, then you're not putting yourself in a period of expansion. You're
stagnating.
You're stagnating. And so, yes, if you're recognizing that this difficulty is only because it's extremely brand new to you. And you will find your people out there. You will find your resources. As we heard in our emotional aura frequency alignment, that you are teachable. I am teachable. We are able to rise to the occasion. Everything is there for us. Look for your resources, look for your tribe, and look for those indications that Sabine and I were talking about earlier, and how you're able to recognize those you can know and truly share your goals with is extremely important. And that deepness, aside from shallow desires to accumulate wealth or success or power, but be able to do so for a greater cause. And what does that mean to you, Sabine? I know you talk about this all the time, but the resonance with the greater and highest good.
That was part of my journey. Having done, worked in the 3D world on projects that were cool, but they certainly weren't changing the world. When I came into myself and my own, and after, so it was the beginning of 2020, I guess. It was actually a good year for me, because that was when I started working with my first mentor. And if you guys don't have mentors or coaches or something, it can be life-changing. I just didn't grow up in that culture. I didn't even know they existed. And now I am one. But
I was just about to say that.
Who knew? But she's the one that helped me realize, and how far I'd come. I knew that, but she's the one that said, "Look, you can take this and reverse engineer it. Right? You especially can reverse engineer this, being the engineer that you are, and then you can help people." And it was just like this light going off. It's like, oh my God, I could do that. I could totally do that. And there's a big difference between working just to survive and working to serve. It feels so much better. And it's tough where we're at right now, because a lot of people don't have that choice. They feel like they don't have that choice, but there's always a way. And the universe helps us when we start going in the right direction. So yeah, the service is just such an integral part. And talk about a high, man. When I work with clients, I get those aha moments and those Nothing makes my heart sing more than that. It's just incredible.
Oh, That's so nice. And certainly that's been coming up a lot in today's energy upgrade sessions, is the importance of finding someone who's already walked the path, your mentors, your guides, your facilitators. And I will be putting Sabine's information in the description so that you can find her, ask her more questions. And maybe you're seeing or something that Sabine is saying is speaking to you in a deep level, so that you can connect with her in her programs, and really get integrated into finding your way towards awakening and finding your own your own Hogwarts energy of there's more.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's playful, and that's exactly the energy we want to be in right now. Is just that, like, that newness of like the morning sun, that like new spark, and
Discovery.
that discovery. Yeah, that's where you find
curiosity.
Yeah, that really brings new life, like that, that child energy that was missing for so long, because we were talking about like the high yang, the industry, and needing to like work, to that, push. And not that we're letting go of the energy of determination in any way.
No, it's just a balance now. It's a very different animal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to be sending, and through this SRC for you, we're going to be sending and selecting some energy imprints to send to the collective based on what we've been discussing today. All right, so we're going to be charging in this instance, always sending abundance first and foremost. But let's talk about that, openness and receptive energy again, that keeps coming up. Is openness and receptive a good energy imprint, or is there a one encompassing?
I think both of them are good, because openness isn't just receiving, it's being open mentally to do new ideas and new thoughts that perhaps you haven't let yourself entertain before.
Yes, yeah. Receptive is a shift, and it's an inner shift of receiving and not forcing, because we want to be able to hitch our wagon to on the path of someone already headed in that direction. Perhaps we're going to send an energetic imprint of discernment to find your mentors and your tribe,
and trusting the journey, trusting your growth.
Yes,
that's huge.
Yes.
And wonderment.
I love that. Yeah. Wonderment.
Yeah. It's that, the whole wonderment and curiosity. Be curious.
Yeah.
Be curious. It can be so much better than it is now.
Yeah. So many important things that came up in this discussion, and I'm really, really excited about shifting into that Lionsgate manifesting energy that we're coming up into. And I know very little about it outside of our other friends that have been
keep us informed.
But I'll just follow their lead, and they can tell me when to do it. But shifting into that fire and emission of our inner flame, and really getting into the active manifesting role. So abundance, openness, receptive.
About pure energy, clean energy, keeping it, not muddying the waters, pure energy.
Yeah, not muddying the energy, right? Yeah. Nourishment. We all falter, even me and Sabine. We have
of course.
We have our accountability partners and our mentors that help to keep us in check, so that we're not slipping back into old habits.
We're human.
Yes, we're human.
So humans gonna human. Sometimes we human badly, but but we're human.
Who lets us do this? What else can we send to the collective in this energy? I think this is really comprehensive. So also I want to say, because we touched a lot on joy, curious, playful, pure energy.
How about the two words, mindful and awareness?
Yes.
Being aware of the energy around you, because the more you do that, It's like any muscle. You get better at it. And you're going to get better and better at realizing, oh, I don't actually like this space or hang out with this person or, whatever it is. So just pay attention and be mindful.
I'm going to start this supercharge while we're talking. And I have a question that came to mind, and, being able to have like the science background too. And by the way, this energy will support us for the next 2 weeks. So I hear a lot of questioning around the awareness of synchronicities that we experience. There's books about coincidences and kind of like washing over the what we recognize as synchronicities. What are your thoughts on coincidences versus synchronicities?
I think they're the same. I think it's just people trying to put labels on stuff because they would rather call it a coincidence versus a synchronicity, to be honest. It's energy. And every time these crazy things that make us go, what are the odds of that happen? It's because of the entanglement. It's, it feels very random to us, but it's all very clear. I mean, the number of times that I've gotten in my car with a thought in my mind or some emotion or something that I'm going through and had the perfect song. I got Sirius XM, so it's got the title and everything there on the radio that totally reflects what's going on in my head.
Right.
Is ridiculous. Running into people. Now it's and the more, again, so this is really just another sign. The more aligned you are, the more aligned you become, the more to your inner self, your higher self you get connected, the more these things happen.
Mm-hmm. I love that too. And I, as we were talking about the energy of creativity and joy and wonder and awe, it's also an acceptance of beauty, and it's a desire, an inner desire to create beauty in the world when you are looking at something as a message or a sign or a synchronicity versus a coincidence. An appreciation in a way. But maybe they're both right, and maybe it's based on perception of whether you're willing to see it as a message for you versus.
My 21-year-old son would say yes. It's psychologically, when you become aware of something, you now start noticing that thing. But what is that other than a consciousness expansion?
Right.
It's just growth. It's just growth.
Yeah.
And we can, and my son, I love both my kids, but because they don't get any of this, and I'm totally woo-woo. So anytime I say something, there's always a rapid fire. Well, no, mom, is just this. Right. And it's great because they keep me aware of who I used to be, because that used to be me. And this, the contrast of how I see life now versus how I did, it's just unbelievable. So yeah, call it what you want. Call your life what you want. This is your life, your story. You get to write it the way you want it. And if you want it to be magical and infused with synchronicities, let it be.
Right.
If you want to tone it down and say, well, it's just a coincidence and it's because I'm aware of it and now I'm looking at it and now it's showing up, fine, do that. But which one sounds more fun?
Yeah, and you know what, following the joy and what lights us up has never, in my experience, has never led me wrong.
Right.
So, like your telling of following the breadcrumbs is, in my experience, it's the right way, and it's more fun. It takes a lot of pressure out of trying to create something on your own when you're looking for the signs externally. And seeing what that means. I want to leave us today too with a Feng Shui tip that can help support us in this energy. And we've said it a few times in this energy upgrade, is the idea of curiosity and wonder and awe, and allowing that to be what lights us up as we're shifting into the fire energy. Interestingly enough,
can you make that bigger, Lisa,
sure.
in any way?
I don't know if I can make it
hard to see it.
My screen, it's pretty big, but let me see if
I just took a little screenshot of it and blew it up, but yeah, I can read it.
So we are, I think it looks good on the channel from what I can see. And
Okay.
so we are looking at the energy of children and creativity as an area that you can work within in the next week before you see us again. So children and creativity, if you are thinking about the spaces that you're in, now you can focus in your office space, just one room. You can focus on your bedroom if you desire, your sanctuary, whatever you desire, or your entire house. Whichever you choose, you are going to be looking at the center of the wall that's on the right from when you're walking in the door. So the door is always the entrance. The mouth of Qi is what we call it in Feng Shui, but it's the entrance that allows not only people to walk through into a space, but opportunities, the energy of opportunities. It allows the life force energy to flow through all the areas and the spaces. So on the right center of the wall of your home or your room or your office is the area that's ruled by the element of metal. It should exhibit metal in some way. Now, metal can be symbolic. It could be actual metal, or it could be white. It could be bright colors or pastels. I like to think of bubbles in this instance. But look at this area within your home and see that it has a good presence of metal. If you don't see a good presence of metal, then it's time to add it in. And you can add it in by adding in something that's white or colorful in this idea, or something that's metal colored, or it could be something that's spherical or circular. So my partner, Steve Coedat, and I like to use globes. So a globe is an easy Feng Shui cure in itself because it contains all of the elements. But what I'm going to ask you to do is add in that metal to make sure there's a great dominant presence of it. And then I'm going to ask that you add in some earth, because earth creates metal without adding in more metal. Earth creates metal, so you can bring in something that is square shaped, or you could bring in a piece of crystal or granite to further activate metal and to support metal in this time that we're in with the collective. Because what we want to do is really activate that children and creativity energy, the joy, wonder, and awe in our lives as we're moving towards our goal. And this is going to support you in this current energy in a very effortless way. Our spaces are extensions of our personal energy. And so you've heard Marie Diamond talk about it in Law of Attraction, our homes are like our vision board. So this activating and paying attention to this area of children creativity is extending and supporting us. We know that we need this children and creativity energy to shift into that next level. So that's your homework for this week until I see you again next week. And Sabine, where's your children and creativity area that you'll be nourishing?
Yeah, it's interesting. Right by my front door on the right, I have a chest, a wooden chest with metal rivets and things on it. But I'm going to add some color. I'm going to add some pastel on the wall above it.
Yeah, I love that idea. That's a good idea. So adding in more something that represents metal to you. And when you do that and add it in, you have your mantra at hand or your affirmation and say it 9 times and deeply envision that goal that you've written down and your intentions and get into the energy as if you've already received it. It's already happening, that joy, that receptivity. And if it's hard for you out there to shift into that because it seems impossible, think about those times when you've received something impossible. For example, you've gone out to your mailbox and you open your mailbox and there's a check that you weren't expecting, and it's a refund from the IRS or a hospital bill or whatnot. The impossible is possible. So think about that energy of joy and, oh, I'm so, received of this gift. That's the energy you want to feel, that, the goosebumps, the whatever your expression of that is at the time, the hairs standing up on end, but get in that excitement, that energy, that joy and wonder of all, as if you've already received that goal that you wrote down. And repeat your affirmation 9 times, or your mantra 9 times as you place that object of metal or that object of earth within children creativity to really get it going and activating, get that chi going. Certainly also make sure you don't have a bunch, and I don't see it in your space, Sabine, but make sure there's nothing that's stagnant in this space, and make sure you don't have a pile of unopened mail or a bag of trash.
Who gets mail anymore?
Yeah, yes, we want less paper collecting. But
Right.
so we keep this area fresh, make it your sanctuary that you're activating. And we'll continue this discussion next week. Sabine, is there anything that we didn't touch on that we can leave our viewers with today?
I would just go farther into the creativity thing. That has come up recently for me. I literally went out and got some more colored pens and some watercolors. Play. Take time to produce something that may just get thrown away. It's okay. I got stuck in that for a lot of years. Like, what am I going to paint? And then I'm just going to throw it away. Don't even worry about that. Just create, play. Yeah. Colored pencils or pastels or watercolors or whatever your jam is.
Yes. Yeah. And play with your friends. Collaborate with your friends.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do things like Sabine and I are doing, where you can smash ideas and talk about things that only you can talk about and express, and allow that joy and that play to radiate. I love that, Sabine.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing to put. If you're going to have a to-do list, if you must, put play on it.
Oh yeah, put play on it. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Sabine. It's been a joy. I hope that you'll come back and join us again.
I
will put in the description where we can find you through your Mighty Networks tribe. Conscious Quantum Living is your program. And your YouTube channel too. We'll put that information there for everybody to find you.
Great.
And to soak in more Sabine. And certainly if you are feeling called to connect with Sabine, she might be your mentor, your guide, or your facilitator on your journey. I like to hang out with Sabine. So I'll probably even see you.
I like hanging out with you. It's fun. Yeah.
So let's do this again real soon. Thank you everyone for joining us. I wish you many blessings ×9, and I'll be back again with you next week. If you enjoyed this session with us, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe, hitting that bell, that notification button, so you get notified when we are going live or returning with another session. And we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a magical day.
Bye. I'm going to hit pause and close it all out here.
Cool. That was fun.
Yeah, we